Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to another episode of Unsolicited Thoughts and Opinions with me, your host, Naledi Masipa. I hope you guys have all been doing well. I hope you guys have had a great, productive week. I hope you guys are going to have a great weekend ahead because exams should be over by now. So go back outside. Be outside because exams done made you mad. Okay. And I also hope that for those of you who are going to your families, safe travels and have a great time with your families. For those of you that are with friends or chosen family, have fun with them too. Show them all your love. But now that we've checked on you, let's go through the checklist. Social media. My social media. Have you followed my social media? TikTok and Instagram. Have you? You haven't? Okay. The links are in the description. Go press those two links and press those follow buttons. And like, come on. On my TikTok, you get poetry. Daily poetry. Imagine how nice that is. Just hearing a soothing voice just going, "This is poetry." I know you like that. But also, podcast socials. Have you followed the TikTok and Instagram accounts? You get daily quotes on there every day. Just a little good pick me up, a spread of positivity. And who doesn't love that? We all love positive vibes. Well, we love positive vibes over here. So if you're down with the negative, go to the next podcast, go to the next platform. Just not this one. Okay. And all those links you'll find in the description box below. Everything is done for you. All you need to do is just press like twice. You just got to press the button of the link and you got to press the button that says follow. And also, have you subscribed? Have you followed? And when I say follow, I mean follow on Spotify because this podcast is available on YouTube and Spotify. So for the YouTube viewers, have you subscribed? If you haven't, press that subscribe button. It's red. Like, you know how they say like a finger just touches the red button? Press that red button. Push the button. Rush hour. Push the button. Come on, push the button. Push the button. And also the post notification bell. It'll notify you on every time I upload. And who wants to be late? Early bird gets the worm, right? So press that notification bell and follow. To all my listeners, hello. This is the second episode on Spotify. If you're listening, please follow. I hope you have. And I hope you enjoy because today we got a little topic. Okay. So on my Instagram story, I posted like a little or reposted a reel of a girl. Let me just find her for a second. Her name is Flossy Baby, where she was talking about how the fact that people like to use this excuse of having, well, okay, let's reel it back a bit. Nowadays, it's so common for people to have babies before marriage, right? And she was basically replying to that with people having comments. And she was basically saying, like, people would say, like, oh, he can still leave you even if you're married. He can still leave you even if you're married. And it's like, duh, yes, he can. But it's like, she used the analogy of a car and a seatbelt, saying that just how like you can die in a car accident whether you wear your seatbelt or not, it's better for you to wear your seatbelt. So like marriage, I feel as though is that seatbelt. So like with everybody having babies before marriage, it's like it's easier these days for people to have babies with someone than like want to get married. I don't know. It's like marriage is just like a it's less valuable, and I don't understand why, because it's like marriage is such a beautiful thing, and yes, it's a big commitment, but it's like that's the point, isn't it, for you to fully commit to your partner before you can fully commit to raising another human being, right? I would think so, and I believe in marriage first, babies after, because I feel like that's also proof that to the man that is going to be the father of my children, that you can commit to me and us before we together can commit to raising this child or our children. You get what I'm saying? Because like marriage, what marriage offers that I guess a relationship doesn't is a sense of maybe like security. And there's just, I feel like, a lot more intimacy in marriage, whether it's physical, mental, definitely spiritual. There's just that oneness that I would assume you would experience in a marriage. And hence why God holds it like not to a higher regard, but it's held to a higher regard, I would like to think, because you leave your mother. It's in Genesis. Let me find the verse. I found the verse and chapter and book and everything. It's in Genesis chapter 2, verse 24, where it says, "This is why a man leaves his father and mother and is united to his wife, and they become one flesh." So that sacred oneness, and the intimacy in that oneness, and God being involved in that because you're committing in front of God when you get married. I feel like that's just, it's something that a relationship doesn't offer. Becoming that one. you know in a relationship you're still separate, and I feel like that's kind of easier to think of in the sense of like maybe when you break up or when you separate or whatever. In a relationship I feel as though it would be easier to separate than in a marriage, because in a relationship it's easy for you to just call, text, or say over dinner that it's over, that you don't want this to happen, and then you maybe move out your stuff if you were in together, and boom, that's it. Versus in a marriage, you might think twice because you have to go through the process of divorce. And I'm sure that's a very tedious and exhausting process depending on how both the parties involved treat that divorce. Nobody wants to go through that. Like, I don't think anybody intentionally wants to go through divorce, you know? So, with even just how easy it is to leave in a relationship, and how not so easy it is to leave in a marriage, I just feel like it shows that deeper level of commitment in a marriage would that a marriage offers that a relationship doesn't. And I feel like that deeper commitment is so important because it just shows that for life, for the rest of our lives, because when you get married, I hope you guys get married to stay with that person for the rest of your life, but for the rest of your life, you guys have committed to each other. And because you are together and because you are one, now you can think of doing together and as one to raise somebody else versus as two separate people trying to come together to raise this next baby. And even if you think, I'm sure this is statistically correct. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry. If I am right, told you that most people nowadays are having children before marriage, they broke up. They broke up. An example is uh Halle and DDG. They had little Halo, but are they together now? No. And don't get me wrong, babies are always a blessing. Babies are always, 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 always a blessing. But it's like, try have them in the marriage, you know? Because it gets treated as if when you have the baby before marriage, as if having a baby and being a parent is like less of a job or less of a commitment than getting married, which I don't think is true at all. If anything, I feel like it takes more to raise another human being than it does to cater to another human being, like in the sense of a relationship. Because that's an adult, you can take care of yourself, but this is a child. This is our child. We need to raise them together. And because it's riskier for you to, I feel as though it's riskier to like break up after um you have the kid in a relationship, because it's like you guys are both parents, you're both going through this new like phase in life, and it's like all peaches and cream and rainbows and sunshine, but it's like now you have to live with each other and understand the way you're going to raise this child together, the way you're going to do things together for the sake of this child, for the sake of you guys together, and the way you guys are going to treat each other in this relationship. Like, there's just so many layers to this that I feel people miss because they just want to have a child. One thing I want to say and highlight right now is never, ever, ever treat that child like your promise ring. That I'm going to have this baby and they'll definitely marry me after. That definitely is probably a probably. They'll probably marry you after. I like, there's so many situations where you think that a baby would maybe save the relationship or something. Don't do that either, guys. That is a human being. That is a human being. I'm just trying to understand why people think that it's less of a commitment to raise a child than it is to be married. Like, get married first and then have the baby. so that you can have that baby. Not that if you're not married, you're not going to be raised in a two-parent home, but I feel like when you're married, it's guaranteed to be a two-parent home versus single parent homes. And nothing is wrong with single parent homes. I was raised by a single mother and I turned out pretty okay. Pretty good actually. And not not going for my dad. My dad passed away when I was young, so there's no like deadbeat energy there, thank God. But yeah, like guys, these are human beings that you're raising. And those human beings need both parents, not both, not two parents. Yes, two parents that can co-parent well if the situation just needed to be separated, but they need both parents in one home. I feel as though it's better that way. Like they need both parents. So get married, show them the love that is between you and each other, that unity, that oneness together, to do that together to raise that child. You know, put a ring on it. You want my baby? Put a ring on it. Back in the day, ladies, I'm sure they were demanding, they were like, oh, you want a baby from me? Put a ring on it. Oh, you want sex from me? Put a ring on it. I just feel as though some things have lost so much value these days that everything is just like in a kerfuffle and it's like thrown everywhere. I feel like there's a reason why God intended for people to be married and then have sex in that marriage and then be fruitful and multiply. Yeah, like after marriage, after you guys have been married. I feel that wasn't, God is a very intentional God. So there's a reason why he would have it or prefer it that way versus anything. Because now, think of, okay, you break up, then you fall in love with the next person, and then you have a baby with that other person. That whole half sibling relationship. I have half siblings and things like that. Again, my dad passed away, so I don't know what the dynamic is like to have both parents alive and then have half siblings, but then have parents live in different households. And it's just like, it's so everywhere now. Time and attention is divided in on a broader spectrum than it would be like a couple or a mom and dad dividing their time and attention to their children that they had together. Now it's like I'm going to use myself as an example. If I had kids with Bob and then I had kids with Tom, it's like now I have to make sure that well, depending on where the kids live, let's say it's joint custody or something like that. But it's like it's separate, it's separated, and that affects the child. In one way, shape, or form, that affects the child. And it's like a child needs both parents. Each parent plays a completely different role, and yes, they maybe there are some similarities, but each parent plays a completely different role. That's why you have two different parents. Otherwise you might as well just be born from the same parent. But no, you need both parents because each parent has a different role. But now how can that role be played if one is gone and one is here, one is there, one is that? Like time is it's just so dear my god. Dear my god means all over the place. It's so dear my god. Like I don't get it. And I feel as though for us now, future generations, can we try shifting perspective to not make marriage seem scarier than having children? Can we make having children be scarier than like getting married? Because guys, that's a baby. That's a human being. That's someone, I believe it's between the ages, well, from when they're born to when I think 10 years old. I could be wrong, but I think 10 years old. They're like sponges. They just absorb everything that's around them, consciously and subconsciously. So whatever's happening around you right now, like you pay attention to those things, guys. And I'm not saying that people can't be good parents outside of marriage. I'm just saying that it's probably better to be married first and then have children with um that person. Because also, careful who you have children with. Be careful who you have children with. Same way you should be careful who you marry. Cause yeah, I don't know. It's so easy for us to be in a little love bubble and think, oh my gosh, let's extend our love and have a baby. But it's like, wait, before we can extend this love, can we please commit deeper to it? And because when I think marriage, I think God is in the middle. With God in that middle of that marriage, that raising that child is going to be even better because God is involved, of course. And yes, God can be involved whether you're married or not. I know. But like going back to the car analogy, You can still die in a car accident whether you have your seatbelt or not, but it's advisable to keep your seatbelt on, to put your seatbelt on, right? And think about this. Think about this. Why is he more willing to make you a baby mama than your wife first? Because when your kids are older and they're living their own lives, who are you going to be with? You know? Like, I feel like marriage, you also have that good companion. You know? Like, he wants to make you his baby mama. He wants to make you his baby mama before being his wife. Why? Men, why do you do that? Why do you want to trap the women like that? Oh, don't do that. And I see it as when he makes you a baby mama before making you a wife, I see that as like, so you're not committing, so you don't want to commit to me, but you want to commit to, being a dad. And in most cases, I know in Black African household, this is a majority, like this is a very big thing where fathers are not dads, they're just fathers. Like biologically, we're connected, but you're not there as a dad. Apparently, there's a difference between fathers and dads. This is what I was told. So a father is just somebody that you're related to. Like that's just somebody, that's your sperm donor. But that's your father. You know, they provide, they do whatever a father does. A dad, they said, would be someone that's involved, that takes you to school, that changes the diapers, that wakes up in the middle of the night, that like all that stuff. So it's like, to me, if you show that you can't commit to me, how can I know that you're gonna commit to being a dad? Especially with how normal it is for especially black men to be such deadbeats. It's like, bruh. So even statistically speaking, you men are at like men are more deadbeats than women are. And it's like, but I want to have your kid, when it's higher, when it's at a high risk that you just leave me to be the single mom. Also, actually, let's run it back and like shout at the niggas. Hold on. Oh, wait, before we do that, don't have children to test compatibility of a relationship. That's self-explanatory. I don't need to say more until the next thing that I wanted to talk about. The thing I really wanted to get to, and it's really important that I get to it, was where this is now targeted towards the men. Men, I'm talking to you. Do not ever put a woman, especially well, in especially if you're also in a especially if you're in a relationship. Do not ever put that woman in the position to be a single mother, especially if she's in a relationship, whether it's a marriage or whether it's just you boyfriend and girlfriend or partners, whatever. Don't ever put them in the situation to be a single parent. Like when I say single parent, I don't mean I'm single marital status and I'm a parent. I mean single parent as I am the only parent raising this child. I am the only parent taking care of this child, as if I had this child alone. That's what I mean when I say single parent. A lot of guys, yo, guys, guys, step up, man up. You did not have this baby in J just to have it and then give it off to your wife, your girlfriend, your baby mama, just to raise them on their own. Take care of that child. Take care of that child. Everything you would want that woman to do for that child, do for that child yourself also. Feeding, bathing, taking to school, dressing, talking to them, uh putting them to sleep, waking them up, picking up the toys, cleaning, cooking and whatnot. Like, be a parent. Step up, man up, and be a parent. Be there for the mothers of your children. Another thing, have respect for the people that you have children with, guys. Please, because I would like to think, since you guys want to have extensions of your love, that you loved that person. So don't now act like you've never loved that person before and treat them like horrible trash. Like, what's up with that? Take care of the people who gave birth to your children. That is the mother of your children, guys. That is the mother of your children. Now, if you've broken up, okay, and you're in another relationship, still have boundaries and know when to differentiate that this is the mother of my children and this is the respect that I have for her, versus you trying to do some sneaky stuff and maybe betray the trust of your next partner. But do you see how complicated that is? Just get married. Just get married so that you're taking care of your wife and only considering your wife, versus having to consider your other partner and now the mother of your children, because that baby mama relationship, it can kind of get complicated. Some people don't get along. And there was this other saying that girls don't get along. That's actually true sometimes. Like most of the time even. I feel like it's harder to have the like those catch. I am blessed. I have girls like that that are good to their core. Like those are my girls. The other girls, they just don't like girls, I think. I don't know. I don't know. But like, yeah, don't complicate the situation in your own life and someone else's life because you want to involve so many people in one thing. The more numbers you add to an equation, the more complicated it gets. Just keep it as 1 plus 1 equals 2. I, I know I did this, but that was because I was holding this. But keep it at 1 plus 1 equals 2. When you start adding more people to the equation, it gets complicated. Because when you break up, you want to get into another relationship, right? Because you want to feel loved and whatnot, whatnot. And it's like that's adding to that as well. And then the child having to adjust to a step parent, and then the step siblings, and then maybe half siblings, and then uh, even talking about it. Did you hear that sigh? I'm exhausted talking about it. I could only imagine what it's like experiencing that. For example, with me, my mom, with my half siblings, she tried to make sure that, like, I was seeing my half siblings and things like that. But I also had a brother. No, not had, sorry, I have a brother, thank you god that he's alive. I have a brother that I was raised with in the same household. Our relationship is obviously like so much better, and also of those the half siblings that I saw the most, it's like it's so much better and easier. We're so much more tight knit because we were raised in the same home. With my other half siblings, it's not as close because we were raised in different homes. It's like broken homes, guys. Broken homes. I feel like getting married first and then having a baby after decreases the chances of having more of a broken home or scattered homes. you know and I'm in situations where you're obviously unhappy in your marriage. I'm not saying stay for the sake of the child, because I feel like staying for the sake of the child, if it in a marriage or in a relationship that you're unhappy in, is not going to do good for the child at all until you guys can both figure it out. Like, that's if you guys that you both have given it your all to fix the situation and it's not fixing. Be careful who you marry and who you have kids with, that now you have to separate. Don't stay for the sake of the kid. If you stay in a relationship, any kind of relationship, don't ever let the reason be for the sake of the child. I think, because it would be like, maybe maybe I guess I'm just not as strong as the people that do this, but I would imagine that if I am extremely unhappy or this relationship just isn't working, period, it might take away some of my ability to be the best mother that I can be to the kids or the child. It's like I'm going to still be a good mother, but I'm not at my level best because I'm still, I have Bob or Tom ringing at my ear, just bothering me or like hurting me, or I hurt them. And it's just like also seeing that relationship between mother and father. Energy never lies. I feel like your child would feel that and also see that something's off. And then broken homes within the home happens like that as well. Guys, don't think selfishly when you have kids. Don't think because I want a kid because they're so cute, or I want a kid because it's lonely or whatever. It's like, yes, extend your love if that's why you want to have a kid, but like also consider everything. Consider the kind of environment you're bringing that child into, the state of your relationship. Is this honeymoon phase? Have we gone through enough to really see each other? Have we spoken about becoming parents with one another? And I also just feel like, ladies, I'm going to be strict with you here and say, put your foot down. If that man wants a child from you, put a ring on this finger, sir. Put a ring on this finger and promise me when you ask to marry me and when you say those vows, also promise that you're going to be involved in your child's life. Going back to what I was saying about men, get involved in raising your kids. Be involved in raising your kids. Don't be deadbeats. Let's take that out of fashion. Deadbeats out the door. Out the door. And we all have human experiences and life happens. Life does happen. The things that I say are for an ideal perfect world, and it's also to try, I guess, hopefully change narrative to good things that would be ideal, but life happens. I completely understand that life happens. So going back to what I said, please be careful of who you have children with and who you marry, because life happens and you want life to happen with the good people in your life or surrounded by good people. Like honestly, if life for me in an ideal perfect world, this is how I would want life to happen. With whatever ups and downs I go through, at least I have like my husband to go through that with me, and he's not the cause of strife in life. And I feel like the reason why probably people have children um before marriage is because people don't see the point of marriage anymore, because they don't see the difference between marriage and a relationship. And the biggest difference I gave was that sacred oneness that is offered to a marriage and God's involvement in that marriage, because it's on like a deeper level, because now you guys are both one in the you guys are one in the eyes of God, you know. So with there being no distinct difference that people see, I feel like another reason for that the distinction between the two being very blurry is because, ladies, we be giving wifey material treatment to people who aren't even hubby material or people who aren't the husband. Because yes, I'm wifey material, but am I your wife? No. So why am I doing that for you? Like, draw that boundary and that line. Like, yeah, thanks. I have wifey materials. Now, if you want this wifey material treatment to be treated to you, make me a wife. And don't say, oh, but you're going to be my wife. Okay, going to be and what's right now is not the same thing. This is present, that's future. What's happening right now? Am I your wife? No. So are you going to get that treatment? No. Hade. Hade means sorry. Slash not sorry. Well, that's not what Hade means, but I'm just saying sorry, not sorry. Hade means like sorry. But like, no. No wifey material for somebody. No wifey material if I'm not your wife. Same for the guys. I'm not gonna even cater to the guys. I don't really care about y'all. I care for the ladies. No wifey material for someone whose wife you are not. And don't. Hey, promises. A quote of the day that I posted today, the day I'm filming this, was you are what you do, not what you say you'll do. So I am a girlfriend right now. A girlfriend I shall be to you. I am not what you say I will be. You say I will be your wife. Okay, then when that time comes, I will be your wife and give you that wifey treatment. Learn to distinguish those two things. I feel like maybe it's also subjective, but like know to separate. Okay, in a relationship, these are the things that I give you in a relationship. As a wife, these are the kind of things I would give to my husband. If someone is not your husband, do not give them that perk. Because I saw a little not a little podcast, but it was like a panel of people, and they were talking about like how this exactly what I'm talking about like how people give basically marriage treatment to relationships. And a man was answering, and he was like, and then the guy would not propose after, like, or they would take a long time to propose or whatever. And then the analogy he gave was like, he goes to an all you can eat buffet, And it's all you can eat, so he eats everything and he's full. So then it's like he's full. It's like, why? It's like, oh, eat now, pay later. The pay later is the get married later. Eat now, pay later. Cool. I've ate, I'm full. Why do I still need to pay? I could just go, right? But it's like, no, let's change it up. Pay now, eat later. So marry me now, get that treatment later. Marry me now, and I will give birth to your legacy. Because ladies also understand that, who what you give birth to is also legacy. Your legacy as a parent, as a couple to that, and as parents to that child, as a couple, that's legacy passing through your legs as a woman. What you choose, there's this quote. Finally, because it's a good quote. There's this quote that I found it on TikTok. I find everything on TikTok, child. But there was this quote that what you're not changing, you're choosing. So yeah, I'm gonna leave y'all with that to chew on. What you're not changing, you're choosing. So I am choosing to change the fact that no marriage, no babies. Period. Okay, like please, no marriage, no babies. Period. But yeah, I hope that captured everything. And I hope you guys were getting what I'm saying. And to give you a summary, what you're not changing, you're choosing. Be careful who you marry and who you have kids with. Have kids after marriage. I feel like there's even more stability in that, but have kids after marriage. And I forgot my fourth point. Oh, and the with the buffet analogy, pay now, eat later. Eat all you want later. And I hope that all made sense. I hope you guys understood what I was trying to say. Oh, before we wrap it up, maybe we could wrap it up with this. Because marriage is a bigger commitment, I feel like that means it's more solid than a regular relationship, right? So that solid foundation is going to be great to build that house, to build that family, to build a home with a complete family. Versus, I feel like a relationship is like it's 50-50. Again, I could choose to text you and say to you that it's over. Versus, I don't know. So yeah, that's all the time that we have. I hope everything sunk in. I hope everything made sense. I hope I'm doing better at giving you guys a better fruit salad recipe. If you don't understand what I'm saying, please go watch the previous episode. If not, let me know in the comments below. Let me know in the comments below what are your thoughts about having kids before marriage, kids after marriage, kids at all. Um, and yeah, I will see you all next week. Besitos. Love you. God loves you too. And goodbye.